I have news of a surprise Princess of Wales sighting.
And Harry and Meghan make another worst list. Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show where we bring you insight and opinion into the lives of two rather famous royal couples on either side of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex right here in California.
And I'm Rupert Bell over in the United Kingdom with news of the Prince and Princess of Wales. It's been a bank holiday weekend for us here in the UK.
Oh yeah, and even though it's a weekend, we actually heard from Prince William today. Can you talk? This is your realm. This is the sporting world. Tell me about what Prince William said.
Well, yes. Earlier on Monday this week, we heard the news that Sven-Göran Eriksson, a former England football manager, a much decorated football man, he became the first overseas manager of the England football team, but he died after battling pancreatic cancer, and he's a very popular figure, had a very interesting private life, but he was a very successful football manager and much loved over here in the UK. But Prince William, in his capacity of the president of the FA, the Football Association over here, did make a statement. He knew him and said basically, in essence, a statement saying, well, he'll be much missed, and sending his love to his family. Because Prince William, as we know, is a committed football fan. He also supports my team, Aston Villa. He may not have been quite so happy on Saturday after we lost 2-0 to Arsenal, but I'm sure he was probably watching it up in Balmoral over the weekend and harumphing at the television while I was harumphing in the grandstands as we lost to Arsenal. But on a serious point, it just shows he is a committed football fan and he's aware of his responsibilities as president of the FA. And as I say, Sven-Göran Eriksson is a very popular football figure. I know that's going slightly off-piste in terms of the royal beat, but it reflects the Prince of Wales's deep interest in football. We've seen him at the football with his son George and other members, whether it's going to Wembley, watching the England team, or if he can sneak a visit to Villa Park to watch Aston Villa.
You know, I'm glad you brought this to my attention, because you said that this is something you wanted to mention. And it was just last week that I talked to Matt Wilkinson of The Sun about a letter Prince William sent to a family that he had just briefly interacted with. It was the father that died from cancer. Matt Wilkinson broke this story. Prince William sat down, wrote this individual's family a letter saying he was so sorry that they lost their father to cancer. There's a great shot of him and the Princess of Wales with pizza, and I can't remember where the location was, but it was Peter Morris. He was just 47 years old when he passed away in May, and Prince William stumbled upon his obituary, or an article written about him in a local newspaper, wrote the family. The widow Tracy read this letter out at the funeral, and Matt Wilkinson and I talked about just how much cancer has affected the royal family lately, and how they're so much more sensitive to the topic of cancer because of what they're experiencing. So I am sure that it was really important for Prince William to acknowledge this today.
Absolutely, and pretty quick out of the blocks to do it. And I think that's a good thing. And as you say, the royal family have certainly had to sort of come to terms with, well, for William, actually, he's got his father recovering from cancer and he's got his wife battling some form of cancer as well. So he's got it from both generations. So he's really in the front line of it. So he will be deeply sympathetic to all families. Look, we've all probably know and people who have been affected by cancer. It was just a few years ago. My sister-in-law died this week of cancer. So you just 4 or 5 years ago. So it always comes back to in your family. You can't get away from it. But I think for Prince William at the moment, it would obviously be something that he'd be very sympathetic to the Eriksson family. And also, more importantly, it will help more he finds out about it, the more he can be proactive in helping draw, finding ways to raise money, which he's good at. We saw what he did with the air ambulance the other day and how much money that raised. So going forward, once we know that both the King and his wife are, I suppose, on the full road to recovery, I'm sure we might be seeing extra efforts to raise funds for various cancer charities across this country, and maybe on a wider scale as well.
I completely agree with you, and I'm happy to support those because, like you said, cancer's wreaked havoc on all of our lives. All right, we did get a glimpse of the Princess of Wales. She attended a church service alongside Prince William and Prince George on the Balmoral estate in Scotland on Sunday. She looked lovely. I love this fedora that she sometimes wears with the little feathers sticking out. She sat in the passenger seat while Prince William drove their Range Rover Defender SUV. King Charles and Queen Camilla also attended church that day with them. Now let's discuss, we talked a little bit about this last week, but as these new photos are circulating, one of the main points that journalists are making is that the princess really isn't expected to attend any more events this summer. We have heard both Catherine and the palace gently ask for some space as she navigates cancer, as she navigates chemotherapy and heals. I have heard rumblings of a possible Earthshot New York appearance. Do you think that maybe we might see this in video form? Might the Princess of Wales provide a video for the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit in September?
Yes, because I would assume Prince William will definitely be wanting to be there because that's his big thing. But they would miss her presence, whether she feels up to traveling to America, and the spotlight that will be on her. If you're going to go to somewhere like New York, it's going to be pretty full on, and they're going to, want everything will be analyzed, and it will be quite a glaring shot window. I think it becomes easier if, we see more of her, maybe in video format. Yes, we saw her being driven to church, very carefully controlled. One other notable takeaway, which you didn't mention, it appears William has taken off his holiday beard. Looking at the photographs. But after we'd seen him when he was congratulating the Team GB Olympic team, he definitely had a holiday beard, but that seemed to have come off. But we know that we see members of the royal family in these semi sort of public stroke private occasions, which a trip to church at Balmoral is always staged managed, and it can be easily done in the car. We're not actually seeing her walking. Presumably they can find a way to get her into the church discreetly and quietly, but she's with her family. And it shows that we talked about the fact that they were able to have fun at a theme park the other day. I certainly was told off that whatever that game we were talking about, I certainly learnt anyway that I got my facts right. I learned by the comments that I needed to get down with the kids a bit more. But anyway, that proves that they've been out and about. But we now know the summer holidays are coming to an end, not only obviously in America, but over here as well. The children will be going back to school in the not too distant future. It's how we manage, or how, well, not only Prince William manages his time going forward. You feel that the King is obviously went to Southport recently and offered his condolences to those bereaved families who'd been at a Taylor Swift party, and then he'd seen members of the family. The King has been out and about and wants to be out and about. William is obviously now going to have to look at his schedule, and once the children are back at school, he's got to feel how much can he be back out on the road again. It is, every parent, breathes often a huge sigh of relief when the summer holidays end, because there's only so much you can do with the screaming little darlings, and you can't wait for them to go back to school. So I would suggest we'll see quite a lot of William over the coming months, but it's how we manage the they manage the Princess Wales's reappearance to the public. We've seen her a few times, yes, going to Wimbledon, but she's very much on comfortable ground there. Seen her at the King's birthday parade, very much on, that semi-public private occasion, able to be stage managed on the balcony, but very managed. one or two video appearances, but will we actually see her out and about making appearances? And I think that's going to be, I think it's going to be not only she's got to feel physically well, but I also think because it will be a bit of a media frenzy, how they cope with it from her perspective, from a mental perspective. But I'm sure she will take comfort from the Wimbledon appearance, because there was a great deal of support and standing ovations and cheering when she was around. So I don't see that as a problem, but it's how she manages her diary going forward. So it might be, Kinsey, if we see more video recordings offering support, but there's going to have to come a time, and this is the difficult thing, if she doesn't go back out soon, there will be people asking, what is going on? And while the health of an individual is absolutely private, there is a balancing act for the royal family. How do they put out this sort of necessary information? Because the longer she doesn't come out, there's obviously going to be more people concerned and worried that it's not what is going on here. And that is the balancing act for Kensington Palace and the Prince of Wales's and the Princess of Wales's team, is how do we manage it and make sure the public are brought along in a positive way, rather than a sort of clamber for information because they feel they're being kept in the dark.
Yeah, I wonder what conversations took place after we found out that the Princess of Wales had cancer, because I imagine that there were conversations where they sat, not necessarily the Prince and Princess of Wales, but their team sat around a table and said, what lessons can we take away from how this spiraled out of control on the internet? I mean, really the wild, wild west. Is there anything we could have done differently? It was such a delicate time, and it was such a scary time that I won't be critical of them going forward. And I was critical when the Photoshop photo came out. I thought, oh my God, how did this happen? I did think it was an innocent mistake, and I kept saying it was an innocent mistake, but what a nightmare. But I do wonder going forward if they have a new strategy in place for how to handle these things to try to control the chaos. Or can you? I mean, can you? Harry and Meghan drive me crazy when they talk about misinformation, but they're not wrong. I mean, are they innocent are they innocent when it comes to spreading certain misinformation? I'd say no. But the misinformation on the internet, nobody is held accountable for it.
No, it is a wild west out there, and it beggars belief. The sort of stories on both sides, you think, what the heck is going on here? And it seems absolutely ridiculous. But that's the modern era we live in, and yes, Harry and Meghan have been trying to say the online stuff, we've got to manage that. It has to be controlled, because there is so much misinformation, and we shouldn't be putting someone's health at the mercy of social media. But it is difficult. But I think at the moment there is a lot of goodwill towards the Princess of Wales. I think the fact that we have seen her, and she did look pretty good, you'd have to say, at Wimbledon. And yesterday, okay, it's an early morning trip to church, photographs. What more can you read? You can easily put on a smiling face, but you still might be feeling pretty ordinary. I don't know. But the fact is, she's having a summer holiday up at Balmoral with her children. I hope she's enjoying it. It will no doubt be helping her recovery as well. We know it's absolutely stunning up there, as long as the weather's a bit kind. But you can have all four seasons in about 20 minutes in Scotland. So at this time of year, but it is a beautiful place to go to. So hopefully her recovery will be continuing in a positive way. And hopefully, yesterday would have been stage managed. That would have been discussed. Right, are you up for this? Because every picture zinging around the world within 10 minutes of that drive, 30 seconds of that drive to the church yesterday, it was around everywhere. So that presumably...
I just to your point, when I went to trooping, I was in a gaggle of photographers, and I went as a fan. Like, I was standing there, no press credentials, And, you know, you're standing there for hours in the rain, talking to the people around you. And I was asking all of these grown men, like, oh, do you do this often? Do you cover the royal family? And they're all like, no, we just want the shot of Catherine, the Princess of Wales. And it gave me a little bit Princess Diana vibes. I mean, I was with one of the men I was standing with, his name was Colin. He just photographs the family because he loves them. And it's a private collection of photographs he has. He's never sold them. But the guys with tripods behind me, and some of the guys that like were bullying themselves, like bullying in front of me, they were just trying to capture the shot. And they stood there next to me in the middle of the pouring rain, in the, you know, right outside of Buckingham Palace, uploading those photos in real time to news agencies. I mean, sometimes when I don't think it's a secret. I sincerely love these people. That's why I do this. But when you do have that connection with them, you forget how much how monetary this business can be, and how, even though I'm standing out there for free in the pouring rain, there are people that are making a lot of money just trying to capture that one shot of an ill woman.
Well, indeed, and that's yesterday. But she goes to Wimbledon. She has her daughter with her. She knows. Look, she is fully aware the impact she has, and she, you know, will have been briefed and will be fully aware, because since she's married into the royal family, her life is she lives in a goldfish bowl. And it's very hard for her to switch off, and she relies on the loyalty of a close group of friends. And I would suggest that she has a very good, loyal group of friends who do not, you know, send out photographs of the children having fun. You know that the school that they go to there are very strict restrictions on parents, you know, photographing, you know, when they go to sports day, or does William or Princess of Wales turn up to watch their children play sport? You know, you don't start taking photographs and then putting a social media tweet out there, because that would, if they find that, and you know, I think it will be deemed as a pretty no-no from the school to the parents, and it might be sling your hook, mate, your children are out of the school. So I mean, I think there would be some pretty strict guidelines for parents. So I have to say, I think they are very lucky that they pick and choose their friends. They probably had to learn the hard way. But going forward, it is going to be, you know, lots of the organizations want the oxygen of the Princess of Wales making a visit, because what it does for them. You know, we know the early learning program. That might be the way where we see her, because she will be very much on comfortable ground. It is something that does seem to have a lot of positive traction in what it's trying to achieve. So that's where we probably will see her focus her efforts, however often. But I do think we will be seeing her, or if we don't, we then just have to watch out for this social media feeding frenzy. If we don't see her much between now and Christmas, you know, that'll be a year, you know, okay, you never know how long to recover from cancer. We can speculate all we like, and it's their responsibility in a way, but all the same, there is also a degree of public interest which we can't get away from. But we don't need to know the details, but we perhaps want to know, is there a plan for her returning to some form of public duties?
All right, we're going to talk. I know if you watch this for Harry and Meghan, I promise we're going to get there. We might even cut out the last story because it's not that interesting. I'm enjoying talking about the Prince and Princess of Wales a lot more. But let's talk about the Earthshot Prize. We'll do this very briefly because it's not until September 24th, but this is a major event happening here in the States where we can look forward, very, very likely look forward to seeing the Prince of Wales. The Earthshot Prize and Bloomberg Philanthropies are co-hosting hosting the third Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit. That's happening September 24th, 2024 in New York City. This is during Climate Week NYC and the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. At the summit, the Earthshot Prize 2024, we're going to actually get to meet some of the finalists. They're going to unveil them for the first time. And attendees will also have an opportunity to learn about the solutions pioneered by last year's finalists, the progress that has been made in 1 year since their fellowship began, and the work the Earthshot Prize is doing to accelerate climate and environmental solutions. Rupert, this is one of the biggest differences between the Prince and Princess of Wales and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They're showing us progress when it comes to the Earthshot Prize. We are revisiting these finalists and seeing what they've developed and how they've evolved in the last year. Accountability. We're seeing where this money, what this money did. How did they utilize these funds? And we're getting results. That gives this initiative real credibility. I see this also with the Early Years Project, where we're given a lot of data, tangible evidence that they are doing something productive. We also, I believe, are going to see this in a really big way with Homewards, Prince William's homeless initiative. Talk to me about how important it is to provide these details, to provide these updates, so that these people don't just look like all they do is shake hands and wave.
I think what the Prince of Wales is very keen to ensure happens, he isn't just a handshaker. Mm-hmm. Actually, there is purpose, and that's why he wants to concentrate on fewer sort of projects, because he feels he can devote his energy. So you've got two that are sort of linked in many ways, the homelessness in Britain, which is very important to him. We got the early learning initiative that's very much the Prince of Wales's baby, and wants to bring it on and see that work. But it also reflects the future king's sort of view of a global world that we need in. And the Earthshot Prize is something that is incredibly important, and it is enabling some pretty clever projects to be developed and great initiative from all corners of the globe. And I think it's important that you just mentioned, and just to highlight, it's the UN General Assembly when they meet. So that's got movers and shakers from all over the world. And you've got the Prince of Wales in town. So it actually gives a degree of, that soft politics and power that we talk about that is very important. Whereas you see the Duke and Duchess of Sussex go to Colombia, well, yes, that's promoting what them and their projects and what they want to do. Fine and dandy. I hope they've achieved something. But actually, you look at the scale of what the Earthshot Prize is about, and when it's taking place and where it's taking place, it gives it added significance, because it will draw attention and highlight, the environmental projects that they're doing, how to look forward into the future, some of the initiatives. It's not everybody's cup of tea in your country. Well, it can create quite a political fallout and saying what's going on. But actually, if you just look at some of the prizes or some of the people who are nominated, it really just reflects some very clever thinking and making sure that everything is thought about. And if something like the Earthshot Prize focuses the attention of what is going on, however you think there's global warming or whatever's going on, I'm way off my pay grade. Yeah. But whatever, I think it's very important that the Prince of Wales is seen there, because it puts him at the heart of Britain, being at the heart of something that he is passionate about. And I think that's very important. And it shows the stark contrast to where Harry and Meghan are at the moment compared to the Prince of Wales. Look at the geopolitical importance of who's doing what. A few days in Colombia, or you're going to New York where the UN Assembly is taking place and you're announcing the awards with all the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, I think you can see who really matters right now.
Well, and Prince William, I believe that one of the initiatives actually led to an arena or a field using recycled material for their concession stand. I'd have to double check, but I believe that is one of the projects Prince William helps to navigate. And they've said for years, what they do is they bring these brilliant minds together with global business leaders, other philanthropists that can put some money in their pocket, and government workers that can help them make changes. And that is exciting to see something so tangible happen, to see it actually come to fruition. Harry and Meghan bought some drum kits for a school in Colombia, and that's really nice, but I feel like it fails in comparison.
That is the problem for Harry and Meghan. How did they, yes, they made some donations, and we don't know how much, but again, a very different vibe and feel. The Earthshot Prize has very good intentions, and we're seeing it, leading to some very creative thinking and people being nominated. And that very much is at the heart of what the Prince of Wales wants to achieve. We've seen it with his father, very much with environmental issues to the fore, organic farming and things. But this William's view takes it a stage further, really coming up with some well thought out and incredibly clever projects. And I think it will be interesting to see how it goes down when he's there. Clearly, as I say, I don't expect the Princess of Wales to be there, but I wouldn't be beyond. I'm sure they would very much appreciate a message from her should that be the case. But there'll be a lot of planning going on between now. It's only not that far away anyway, but it will be great to see how it goes down. And actually, the kind of reception the Prince of Wales gets when he goes to New York as part of the Earthshot Awards.
I mean, I never thought I'd be interested in this kind of stuff, but the other day I was doom scrolling on the internet and I saw that these young guys in Australia invented this kind of suction. I love the ocean. I'm always whale watching and dolphin watching. And these guys built this kind of suction thing. It started in Australia, but now they're using it in Marina del Rey out here. And it stays like right underneath the surface of the water, so it doesn't capture any wildlife, it doesn't get any fish, but it pulls in the trash that's in the ocean, the water bottles, the balloons, the straws, and it sucks all this stuff up. And so you go and you capture it occasionally and you empty it out. But I'm just like, like you said that clever, like how brilliant. If you are passionate about, you don't have to, remove climate change, remove all the political stuff. People that are passionate about saving the planet are heroes. People that are passionate about protecting wildlife and protecting our sea creatures. I mean, to me, it is something you can get really excited about. So I'm surprised at how excited I get about the Earthshot Prize, because I'm looking for some of those types of initiatives. And then that's something that I'm now thinking, how come I didn't think of that? How come why didn't I have that fire under my butt?
Well, I think we just have to admire everyone does things differently, and I think it's good. And it will be, look, it will be something that William will be passionate about for the rest of his life to ensure, because he knows he's got to try and leave a legacy that there's a lot of nasty things going on in the world at the moment. This is positive and should only be encouraged. And whatever these things do, if they can work and achieve something, then Earthshot is achieving what William wants, which is, we are trying to help people, not just in Britain, not say just in America, but on a global scale where perhaps help is really needed in some of the less developed countries as well.
All right, I've made the executive decision to kill the fourth story. So let's just go all in on story number 3. According to Matthew Bellini, he's the co-founder and former editor of The Hollywood Reporter, Harry and Meghan's multi-million-dollar Netflix deal is one of the worst in history. Rupert, I see the shock written all over your face. H&M are featured on an extensive list of underperformers in Hollywood's hyperinflated peak streaming era. The list covers the most costly showrunner deals, the 9-figure packs that led to 0 new shows, and the biggest underperformers of the era. Now, Matthew and entertainment reporter Leslie Goldberg agree that H&M's 2022 docuseries Harry and Meghan about their exit from the royal family was a blockbuster hit. I don't think any of us would deny that. But they really credit it to the fact that it's Harry and Meghan complaining about Harry's relatives and dishing the dirt on the British royal family. The entertainment gurus insist that none of the couple's other projects have connected with Netflix's audience in the same way. That's Meghan's canceled show Pearl, Live to Lead, Heart of Invictus. And despite Netflix's public commitment and fawning over Meghan's upcoming cooking show and Harry's expected polo series, Bellini and Goldberg are predicting that neither project will excite Netflix's audience, nor will they attract new subscribers to the streaming giant. As a result, they both suspect that Netflix will not renew their deal with the couple. Rupert, I think it goes without saying that they certainly wouldn't get the same deal that they were initially given. Whether or not they completely cut ties, I'm not so sure, but I don't think that they will ever get the type of check that they initially were offered.
Well, I think we're actually seeing a lot of these not just Harry and Meghan. There are lots of other people who probably had these multi-million-dollar deals, and the market has changed because the subscription. There are so many subscription places out there. I mean, it costs you a fortune if you want to watch everything. So Netflix is no different from you got to have Discovery, Disney. I don't know. You've got to have about 50 of the damn things to know what you're going to be watching. But for Meghan and Harry yes, their first series, it clearly was a success, just like Harry's book Spare. But it's basically a gossip fest against his family. And so therefore, but for Harry and Meghan is what's the next story? And I have to be brutally honest. I mean, I know about polo. I've been to polo matches. I've covered it. But honestly, I'm not sure it's going to hit the Netflix zeitgeist and be a rock and roll, because there's got to be juicy stuff in it. It's got to be some scandal, but that's not going to happen.
What I heard initially, and I have to be careful because one of my former bosses owns a polo event, and so I can't like completely like I can't go off the rails with my description of polo. But what I've heard is what's interesting about polo is that it's kind of salacious behind the scenes. In a lustful way. That's a great show. I mean, that's basically Jersey Shore, but Polo Shore. I don't know what you'd call that. That would sell. But that's not what Prince Harry's going to give us. He's going to tiptoe. He is hyper aware and of when there's a camera and a microphone on him. I don't think we're going to, like you said, it's got to be sensational and truly without the drama, without the high production behind the scenes, scripted confessionals, whatever. What is there about polo that's going to make a random person tune in?
Well, if you were going to do the private lives of polo players, grooms, people around it, it would be fun and games. But I'll tell you what, the lawyers will be working on time to whether we could put the stuff out, because it's there's a lot of good-looking polo players out there, and it's a lot of money in polo, but it's all an ego, because you're just doing it for if you're a patron of a team, you are basically just putting money down the drain because you don't get it back, because ponies are expensive, so it's ego driven. But is that going to be, are we going to get a real sense then of the big power brokers who support polo? Or is it going to be a little bit tame and that it feels like it will be tame. And Meghan's cooking show. I don't know. Is she a good cook? I don't know. My gut feeling is she won't be doing the sushi. She won't be chopping up the cucumbers or whatever beforehand. It'll all be prepared for her, and all she'll be doing is tipping ingredients together. And there's probably somebody in the background making sure that the finished product comes out and looks absolutely perfect. I'm not interested in that, but there are cooking programs that to a penny nowadays. What's she going to do that is different and is going to drive viewers to Netflix? I'm not sure. But if we're proved wrong, fine. But my gut feeling is, and the two people you're alluding to probably know that this is the case, they're not going to drive new subscribers. And this was always going to be the problem for Meghan and Harry, how to come up with something new. But as we know, there's still the Meghan story, because as she said in that interview on CBS, I haven't scratched the surface of what went on. So, maybe that will be, we know that will sell.
Right. That might be desperate times call for desperate measures. And that's when she pulls that out, along with the journal she found at Frogmore Cottage. And remember when she told the Cut magazine that she didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement? You piece these kind of random comments together, and it makes you think she's not done, no matter. And I had a couple of people reach out to me, and we've briefly touched base on it, and I hinted at something, but there was the article in People magazine about how Meghan said she wishes Prince Harry would look forward instead of backwards, and how she did not like him tied up in all of this litigation because she felt like it was so negative. I mean, perhaps somebody's putting that stuff out there, so that if anything ever does blow up, you immediately associate her as the victim, and this victim of this woman whose husband couldn't, get past the trauma, and you side with her. But I think it's very odd that that's kind of like the first me or her against him story I've seen, aside from Harry doesn't want the kids included in things and Meghan does. I just think that that's a little telling that we're starting to see stories like that circulating all of a sudden. And I don't believe Prince Harry wants to go after his family anymore with the crappy gossip. I think that he realizes that in his mess kit, and there's no going back, and he's really made a mistake. But I think she likes being seen as the victim, and she is so desperate to have her side out and for everyone to believe her that she might not be done telling her story yet. So that's a really good observation that you made. Rupert, this has been such a fun chat. And now no one will ever know what our fourth story was. I wonder if it's going to keep them up at night that we killed the fourth story. Do you think so?
Probably not. If I think it's a story, I think we can probably leave that one alone. It's a sort of all right story, but it's not one that is going to hold it's a bit like what could be a Netflix documentary. It'll be all right, but it's not going to get new viewers. So I think we're all right there, Kinsey. We can leave that one aside. But I think it's but the next few weeks will be interesting of what both sides have to do, because the Meghan and Harry will see all the stuff coming out from William over the next few weeks, and being in New York, what will be the counteract from the Sussexes to make sure that they appear relevant. There will be a bit of a PR scramble, I'm pretty sure, from the other side to make sure they are seen as equally as relevant as the Prince of Wales. So because don't forget, as Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, in that beautiful green, that skin tight, beautiful green dress, stepped on that green carpet with David Beckham. When they stepped on that green carpet in Boston, that's when Netflix dropped the official Harry and Meghan trailer. Always trying to distract, always trying to squash, always trying to steal their thunder. So very good point there as well. Well, that's going to be interesting. So I'm sure you'll be busy, Kinsey, keeping an eye on it, because it'll be over in your neck of the woods. But I'll be curious. So, but it's been an interesting summer, and let's hope. But more importantly, that both the King and the Princess of Wales can continue their recovery. The King's obviously going to go on a visit in the coming months. But obviously, let's hope we do see the Princess of Wales out and about, back on the road, and meeting people again and doing what she wants to do. But fingers crossed that her recovery is continuing apace.
Absolutely. We wish the best for the King and Princess of Wales. All right, if you enjoyed this chat or agree or disagree with any points that Rupert or I made, make sure you let us know in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks so much for watching.